Good evening, everybody. I'm Fictional Crystals, and Lance is going to give himself up. Lance has been shown to have many insecurities. However, he tends to hide them with his attitude. He acts happy and flirtatious, and, well,
Lance is the goofball.
But it's just a cover-up. Lance is not nearly as self-centered as he first appears. He truly cares about the rest of his team. If anything, he's the most selfless. In the first episode, when Pidge was losing it at Commander Iverson, Lance stepped in to stop her from getting into big trouble, which ended up with him getting in trouble with Commander Iverson instead. In the episode, Fall of the Castle of Lions, Lance straight up protected Cran from a blast. At this point, he had only known Cran for a short amount of time, yet he was still willing to risk his life for him. He did this once again in the episode Crystal Venom. He heard who he thought was Cran yelling out for help, and he came running. Right before that, he had been trapped in a freezing pod, and was believing the castle was haunted. Yet he was still fully ready to run down somewhere he thought was haunted to see if Cran was safe. Again, something bad ended up happening to him after that. He was about to get ejected into space. He was fine with going into a castle with mind-switched mermaids to save everyone. When something was going wrong for Shiro and Keith in the Blade of Marmora, Lance was the first one to say they needed to go down there. He was the most worried about them. When he thought Laika was in danger by the Warden, he stepped right in to protect Laika, despite them having just met. Even though he would have loved to lead Voltron, he put his own needs aside to support Keith. The same with Laura. Lance would practically do anything to protect his team. He cares about them and wants to do what's best for them. They're like his second family. He enjoys being with them, but also wants them to have the greatest chance of winning. And he thinks they'll have the best chance of winning with him off the team. Lance has doubts about if he's really the team's sharpshooter. He sees himself as a seventh wheel. When the Blue Line rejected him, it really put a dent in his confidence. He felt like he wasn't worthy of being a paladin, and that he could just be switched around. Yet, in a way, it turned out to be a good thing. He ended up becoming Voltron's second in command. Lance wanted the Black Paladin spot, but was willing to be the second in command instead. So, what does Lance's future hold? If we think about his self-worth issues, and also his selflessness, I think Lance is going to sacrifice himself for his team. If a very bad situation comes up, and it's a choice between him or them, he's going to sacrifice himself. He thinks he's the weakest link of the team. He believes that if he went, it wouldn't really matter to the team. They'd be fine without him. Jeremy Shader, Lance's voice actor, once made a joke about Lance dying. Now, the thing with Jeremy Shader is he tends to spoil stuff, or give hints at something. Considering his track record, he might have been serious about Lance dying, and tried to play it off as a joke. I can totally see a situation where Lance basically dies saving his team. When the team went to an alternate reality, Lance found a dead old hand in blue armor. Possible foreshadowing for what's to come for Lance? But I doubt if he died, he'd be dead for good. As one of the main characters, I can't imagine him being killed off permanently. The show's co-executive producers had wanted Shiro to be gone for longer. They didn't want him to come back nearly that quickly, but they had restrictions. Voltron toys were coming out with Shiro as one of them, and Shiro's gotta sell toys. They couldn't get rid of Shiro. They had to find a loophole to bring him back, and it's likely they did that by having a clone Shiro instead. If Lance died, they'd find some way to bring him back. Quintessence can do that, and there are also healing pods. Or he'd just come very close to death, and the team thinks he's dead, but he's really not. Lance will give himself up for the team's safety. It doesn't necessarily have to mean death. He could just end up getting captured for them, like Allura did for Shiro. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see how Lance will sacrifice himself, and who he'll do it for. Will it be for the team as a whole, or just one person? And how bad do you think his sacrifice will be? Deadly bad, or just being captured bad? Tell me in the comments. But anyway, thanks for watching, and let Lance live 2K17.
Hasta la later, Keith!